Right, but it's another, we've talked how many times about third-party government entities, if you want to call them, in Minnesota. This is just another, from the School Board Association to the League of Minnesota Cities to the North Metro Mayors Association, the counties. There's 87 counties in Minnesota. They have their own special interest group. The Association of Metropolitan Municipalities. They are all, every single one of them are tax funded. Every one of them.
Yep.
So, I mean, just think about that. When you talk about closing a budget deficit in Minnesota, I mean, I'd like to add up what the Met Council, all of this stuff that we're talking about, watershed groups, I mean, you name it. What is all that add up
just
to
in the 7-county metro area. Yeah, you throw in the Three Rivers district, Park District, which is now 3 counties, I think. It used to be Hennepin County, and they've gone.
Yeah, they go out.
They go out.
Yeah, by agreement with Dakota County.
Dakota and Anoka.
Yep, they go way out by the Rum River.
Yep.
They go way out there.
Yep.
But that's another thing. And the Three Rivers Park District, you might say, okay, 5 of the 7 people on there are elected, and 2 of them are appointed. Well, when was the last Three Rivers Park District debate that anybody heard of? And these districts are so big.
Right.
I mean, how can anybody possibly,
No, they're buying up things too. I've looked at that, and it's astronomical as to the capital expenditures that they are.
The assets they hold are hundreds of millions of dollars.
And a thing to remember about that is when the government buys up a piece of property,
that
property
tax
goes
laws.
off the tax rolls, and the burden falls on everybody else.
The pie gets smaller and smaller as to put the tax dollars onto.
Right.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what's really scary too, just to jump to this, is I've got a little map here of what, where the hell is it? There it is.
Yep.
This is, I know you can't see this very well on TV, but botnotransitway.org, if you want to look at it, this is the map of what they want. Now, granted, I mean, this is, again, some of this is a long way off, but they're talking about taking the North Star Rail. The vision is to take that all the way to Fargo. Not just stop at St. Cloud. That was the original plan, but like you guys said, they don't have the ridership to get the free money. They want to take one all the way to Duluth.
Is that so that people in the metro area can escape to North Dakota, which has a great economy right now?
Discover the spirit.
I
don't know.
The
it could be, but they have the Red Rock line, which is proposed to go from St. Paul down to Hastings. They have one they want to take toward Stillwater. They have the Rush line that they want to take up to Hinckley. They have one they want to take down to Lakeville, one they want to take to Rosemont. They have, the Southwest is on here, which ends at the Eden Prairie.
Right.
Another thing that will do, though, is help Minnesotans get to work as industries and companies keep leaving the state and going to North Dakota and Wisconsin and wherever. This will be a commuter outbound commuter
line.
Make
one to South Dakota so everybody who works at TCF can go out.
That's
Twin
right.
Cities Federal, which is down in South Dakota.
Sioux Falls, get a line down to Sioux Falls,
But they've proposed Eau Claire, Rochester, Mankato.
Well, originally they wanted to, the one that I think went to Rochester, they wanted to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
That was originally to go through.
That was the high-speed rail too.
Yeah, well, I think that might be.
Considering how well Amtrak is doing, they don't have to get any taxpayer subsidies, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, none of these things pay for themselves, and they tell you all this development. One of the things that we've talked about before is transit-oriented development. That if you build it, they will come. Well, I really challenge that will happen. Go down the Hiawatha line. You tell me what's being built down Hiawatha right now. They're
escaping it.
Or tell you what's going on in the little stations all along the way. There is the crime statistics are increasing.
Really?
Right around a station.
The Minneapolis Greenway, which is one of the things that
That's another one of your favorite things.
The Hennepin County Regional Railroad Authority owns, is the property on which Minneapolis operates the Midtown Greenway.
Yep.
Well, there was just recently a lot of information came out. They don't have the police force to cover that area, and crime is going nuts.
So, let's broaden this a little bit. I mean, what's going on? Why is it that our planners, our local governments, our state, our federal governments, why are they pushing? I mean, they've got to know, as dumb as some of them are, they've got to know that this isn't paying for itself. Right. They got to know there's a lot of people who don't like it, that there's a lot of people getting forced out. What would be their reasoning to keep pressing it anyway? Now, I got some theories.
What are?
I think that there are connections with maybe some of the companies that are doing this. Would be my thought, is that there's some money changing hands.
Some of the contractors.
Contractors, operations.
Check who's giving money to Mike Opat. You might find a few things as well.
And I'll have you know that, the people that want to always buy American, you know how many of those rails are made, the cars and stuff are made in the U.S.? Absolutely zero of Hiawatha Line. All of them were constructed outside the United States.
Well, that provided jobs then.
Yeah.
Well, you don't provide jobs. I mean, look, if you want to provide jobs, you got to get the private economy going. But there's two other things that I think are in play. I think one thing is trying to get people out of their cars and go green, supposedly. And I think the other thing is if you can control how somebody transports themselves, you can control almost every other aspect of their lives. I mean, just think if I didn't have my car, okay, I don't know if I could have gotten here today. You're limited as to where you can get groceries. You're limited as where you can go to school. You're limited as where you can shop.
Right.
And
this where you can work.
Your car is a symbol of your freedom.
Freedom. Yep.
And
independence.
Is that something that's in play here? That they're trying to chip away in a backdoor way at our freedom? Am I onto something?
I think you are. There are many people who have started studying Agenda 21.
Well, that's what this is part of.
Yep.
And the United Nations One World Government Initiative.
Well, that's what we're drifting towards. I mean, and I think when you look at just light rail in and of itself, the impact this has on communities. I mean, you don't know what your city is going to look like in 15, 20 years. I mean, is everything, all the businesses you've had, all these homes that have to be taken away, the impact around these things is tremendous. And that's your neighborhoods are going to change forever if all this goes through.
And also, Dennis, you were saying earlier, too, that we're not just talking light rail here. Minneapolis and St. Paul also have streetcars that they want to bring back. They want to bring back the 1930s, 40s, and 50s back to streetcars to try to web and tentacle off of these main light rails.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got enough time to go into it. I'm just going to briefly say the Minneapolis streetcar system has been approved by the Minneapolis City Council. This is separate from the whole light rail discussion that we've been having. But it's already authorized by the City Council and has already, in 2010, received $900,000 in federal funds to continue the studies for 7 lines. They've already figured out where these lines are going to run. One of them, for instance, will run to Robbinsdale out of downtown Minneapolis. That alone would cost $135 million for just that one line.
Just for streetcars.
Just for streetcars.
Right.
Yeah,
we abandoned those because they weren't making money back in the 50s.
Yeah, but I'm
going to tell you, we should talk about streetcars. Streetcars were privately owned.
That's right.
In Minneapolis and St. Paul, and they were making money. They had no federal subsidies, no state subsidies, no local subsidies. They were privately owned and making money. There's a whole story behind how it was converted from streetcars to buses, and we could spend a whole show on that one. But it's clear that there are a number of things going on with transit in the Twin Cities right now that are springing from some source other than the people who are paying for it. Now, if I would just remind viewers out there, if you've got any interest in reducing the amount of money that's being spent against your wishes, it's time to pay attention to local government races.
And I would say one last thing, too. We talk about state and federal money. We're sending our money to Washington and begging for it back. Maybe a solution is not send it there in the first place.
Right. There we go. We've got to reduce the size of federal government, reduce the size of state government, and pay attention to our local government elections. Well, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. This has been, I hope, an interesting and enlightening discussion. And thank you to Ron Stoffel, and of course to the Andrew Richter show for putting us on tonight.
Yes, and I was renewed. They picked up my option. In January, we're coming back for season 5.
All right. Congratulations.
Option renewed. A very lucrative deal that my people
Okay, so you can stay tuned in. Thank you very much for viewing.
Thanks.